Booty?
No.
Booty?
Booty.
Booty?
No.
Oh, booty.
Booty?
Oh, booty.
Are you quoting the Boondocks? Are you going to do that?
No, I was quoting 2.5 Men.
Oh, I was quoting R.
Booty.
Kelly. I was quoting R. Kelly.
Oh, booty. Because he was like, what's a booty call? And he was like, and so because his kid was like 7, and so he has that. He's like, what's a booty call? And he was like, it's when you yell for booty. He's like, and so his brother's like, explain, Alan, do tell. And he was like, booty, booty.
When's the last time you heard somebody reference 2.5 Men?
I know.
It's so good.
Pre-Ashton Kutcher.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a 2.5 Men. Hey, it's up there, man.
Well, I think it's funny.
It's so
I just hear
good.
no one ever talk about it anymore. Like, but I do think it's funny though.
Because it's funny. I'm one of the few people who actually hang on. By no means, obviously, I know it's not better than when Charlie Sheen was on it, but I don't mind Ashton Kutcher being on it. Like, it's fine, but it's not obviously it's not as good as Charlie Sheen. But like, because the first season when he came on, he's like depressed. And all, it's kind of bad. But then like when they finally find their rhythm and footing of like what it is, it actually kind of it's not bad. It's not horrible. As that first season with him. When he shows up, just out of nowhere, he's just like, I'm a billionaire.
I used to really like that show, and then Charlie Sheen
went crazy.
He got kicked off because he gave somebody AIDS. What happened?
Tiger Blood winning. Duh.
It was just that whole. It was like
I remember that, but like,
was just being crazy.
you know how they say like the Keanu-sans, like for a good thing.
Being
His
wild.
was like a destruction, like this Charlie Sheen destruction.
What was that word?
A Keanu-sans.
Keanu.
So like how Keanu Reeves like had like
I thought of like Keanu Reeves.
reappeared.
I'm like, there's no way.
Like because it was like Keanu Reeves was kind of like done. Like he was really making movies, and then John Wick came out, and then he like did like all these like movies that like kind of like brought him back, revitalized his career. So they call it a Keanu-sans.
really?
I heard he's a really good dude though. Like,
Yeah.
he's just.
Yeah, apparently, I've never heard one bad thing about him. Everybody loves Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Welcome to the iNword podcast.
Hello.
Those two cameras are so wide. I'm Ron, aka the Lone Rocketeer. With me to my left is
Nate.
to his left,
Mike.
to his left,
Philip Arthur Dixon.
your motley crew that you always see. Hello. So, as you hopefully tuned in last time, you heard us discuss about our ghost reel. I was the only one that did it. That did not. Doesn't matter.
Were we supposed to?
I don't know.
That wasn't communicated.
It doesn't have to be communicated. Sometimes if something happens, you join in with it. You don't tell someone you gotta laugh if you're laughing.
Yeah, but that's a sound effect. That's not a laugh.
I did the spirit fingers. Those are not called ghost fingers.
Uh-huh.
I'm that
You
right.
got it, though. You got it.
I almost said Ghost Went Real.
You got it. That's all that matters. But on today's episode, we're actually going to be debating two different movies and seeing which one is, would you say, like the better franchise, the better watch, or just all around?
So no, it's just which are you picking?
which
So
are you picking?
yeah, but also but no, 'cause I think it's on all fronts. So franchise from
Philip, you look lost.
No, my eyes were just getting rubbed. Damn, brother can't rub his eyes. Y'all have glasses.
I didn't say anything. But
can't
yeah,
see. I'm
it's
lost.
in all fronts. Which
So we're going,
which.
so the debate is between Hocus Pocus and Halloweentown. So before we start this one, the question is, how many of them did you guys watch?
All of them.
All of them.
I got them done.
Better than me.
I watched all of them.
All
I
of-
watched.
All of what?
Halloweentown and Hocus Pocus.
I've seen all of them already. I need to watch them. Step up.
Seen.
When did
You don't gotta get prepared if you always stay prepared.
When did you last watch it?
Yeah, that's the question.
When I last watch it?
Yeah.
I watch Hocus Pocus seemingly every year. The first.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Yeah, that's all.
Watches a Halloween movie every Halloween. Yeah.
No, Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus has been the specific one that I've heard that one of my friends said that. Yep, I watch it every year. I'm just like, cool.
Yeah, ABC Family played it like every year, and then like Freeform plays it, and it's like if I go out, like the places I go, they're always playing on the TV and stuff. Like it's always out.
He's at Applebee's. Hocus Pocus is on. It probably is. No, it's probably actually very.
Hocus Pocus, NBA preseason, you know the whole.
LeBron just dunked on Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus 2, I've only seen one time. I'll express my opinions on that as we continue forward.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was watching Halloweentown when they were originally coming out, so let's get it.
When they were originally coming out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Halloweentown was a 90...
Mm-hmm.
93.
So Hocus Pocus was 93. Halloweentown was like
98?
yeah,
98.
like 98, 99.
Shoot.
Okay.
I was a Disney Channel guy, you know?
Cool.
Same.
So I'm going to start with Philip this time. Which one are you vouching for?
Hocus Pocus.
Okay, Mike,
Hocus Pocus.
Nate.
Halloweentown.
Cool. Me too.
Why does man act like this one predetermined?
Yeah.
Well, no.
God.
I was.
Which one I would.
Well, no, I was trying to see where I thought. Well, I was trying to see.
Like he switched it at the last.
We're gonna switch your wrong.
I'm gonna go to Halloweentown.
I will say Halloweentown, but there's a reason behind it because both of them are really good. Granted, I've only watched the first, like the originals for both.
Okay.
It's been a very
That's all you need.
It's been a very busy week.
Whoa, no, you don't. Because see,
I have our own
we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not
I have
doing
our
this.
own argument.
You cannot negate something that happened.
I'm not gonna negate it.
Okay.
But like in terms of like entertainment, like what you're ingesting,
Okay.
in terms of peak, I'd argue that you'll be all right. It's just the first ones. But
Oh yeah.
I
I get that. Yeah, I
I
get that.
want to just throw in there
Makes
that
sense.
they are both good movies, and then that's it.
They're good movies in their own terms, which is really interesting because this isn't a apples to oranges kind of thing. But in watching it, because I started watching Hocus Pocus like first, right?
Okay.
I started with that one, then went to Halloweentown.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
I made notes
Interesting.
about Hocus Pocus because it was just so out of pocket for me. Like,
Okay.
I didn't realize like how the story was put together and stitched, but like the way they did it was wild because there was one trope that they just kept every single time. It was about Max being a virgin.
Oh,
They kept hitting that hard for some reason.
it's funny how he connects to that point because
Well, he had to be a virgin
Makes
to
sense.
light the candle.
literally, literally, that's what it
They
was.
say in the movie. She's like, "What took you so long, brother? I had to wait 300 years for a
virgin.
to light a candle." It's just like, what the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out we make a movie for little kids.
I don't think those were little kids, though.
You don't think movies for little kids?
No.
that movie. Are we getting into it,
Yes.
or are we doing? Because
Yes, let's just. We're here.
okay.
I don't.
It is a movie for little kids,
That movie is
but it is a movie for a movie for kids, but it's in a time period where all kid shows were that, or all kid movies and TV shows were like essentially that way. Which is like, hey, as a kid, you would have a great time watching this, whatever.
I need examples so I can make sure that we're on the same page. Because
there's whole Instagram accounts of, wow, I didn't get this joke when I was a kid.
well, no, I get that. No, I get that. Well, I'm talking about this movie's dark. Like this movie's a dark movie for kids. Like
It's a Halloween movie.
Yeah,
but no,
for Halloween.
so it's Halloweentown, not dark.
Halloweentown was.
But Halloween
But it's a kids movie.
Halloween is so when you're going back to what Ron talked about in terms of like apples and oranges and how that's not the case here. I do think this is the case here, because they're both movies, but one's a movie and one's a Disney Channel original,
Right.
Like
So
movie
that's why.
made for the channel.
But
not like the
and so
theaters.
that's where I do agree with him then by saying it's not apples and oranges because I mean it is apples and oranges because because you just said that like one is a highly produced movie by Disney, right? Hocus Pocus was, and then one is a Disney Channel original film. As you know, the filmmaker, those are totally different budgets and totally different approaches. Because like I said, because to your point, possibly if Halloweentown was made for like the masses, not for like movie theater, not for just original Disney movie, it may have been as dark as Hocus Pocus, possibly,
Okay.
right? But because it was made for the TV channel, they were like, we can't this can't be really dark. Like, this can't be like
It can't be
as
what
for
they
kids.
want it to be,
Possibly.
because it's a Halloween movie, right? 'Cause
Right.
Halloween inherently has dark themes.
Yeah.
Point period. Like we all can agree on that.
Right.
But for Halloween, but like that didn't. I'm arguing for Hocus Pocus. I don't think this point takes away from Halloweentown, right? I think there is a nostalgia factor for a Disney Channel original movie that lends to like the liking of this movie to a degree and like the tone it sets, right? Because this is the same tone as 13th Year, Luck of the Irish. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And that's what is a positive to that. But it's essentially a positive to a kid's Hallmark movie, like made for TV.
Right.
You're talking about Hocus Pocus, right?
I'm talking about
Halloweentown.
Hocus Pocus, they got the stars and that. They got the budget,
right.
You know what I
But
mean?
the thing about it was,
but I'm just saying that not being the case for
Right.
Halloweentown doesn't take away from it. So I don't want to be misconstrued that I count that as a negative.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
well, the thing I'm talking about is the fact that Hocus Pocus just felt like it was they wanted it to be a comedy, which it was. Like it is funny. It has a lot of funny aspects to it. For some reason, the plot line seems so misconstrued, though, for it to be such a like high budget film, right? When I watched Halloweentown, I felt like everything not so much made sense, but you could see why point A led to point B led to point C. In Hocus Pocus, it was like you had one plot line here, and one plot line here, and somehow we're going to make them all come together. Because number one was the three sisters trying to figure out where they are because it's been so long. The other one is Max trying to figure out how to get these witches like to stop chasing them. And the other one just randomly was just like, oh, by the way, where are our parents? Like...
I don't... Separate storylines that are happening at once can be poorly done. I don't think it was poorly done.
No. I
don't need a traditional structure of a movie, I guess you would say, for storytelling, for it to be good. I agree with you that that's how it was formatted, but that doesn't take away from the movie. And I'd argue the movie is, you gotta give more props to the movie for them to like strategically and like actively be able to do that and make it like palatable for everybody, adults and kids, and it still hold up 20 years later, 30 years later, whatever it is now.
29.
But I wonder if
29
that's
years
also
later.
because of the all-star cast, though. Because like,
Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker.
like the first, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first saw Sarah Jessica Parker and like how she acted, I'm like, oh dang, she's bad. And then I realized, nah, that's not bad. She's just out there. She's just trying to have fun.
Yeah, you're right. Turns out when you got good actors, these things happen.
But I mean, like innuendo wise, it was just like, oh, all right, cool. Nah,
Innuendo wise, what do you mean by that, Ron?
let me go through my list that I made for Hocus Pocus. All right, so just a few notes, right? So Sarah Jessica Parker's character, like even though she was also named Sarah, which was hilarious, her whole thing was playing the ditzy kind of sister out of the witches, right? At first, I thought she was just kind of like you could tell she was put there for the sexual tension, which was really kind of weird to me. Because at first it was just like, oh, she just, the way they made her character, she looks good. But then when you started realizing that she flirted with almost every single guy she came in contact with, even Max at one point, I'm just like, okay, here we are. And the one thing that really hit that like nail on the head was the bus scene.
Oh, right.
Because when they were getting on the bus, because they didn't know what it was, Sarah just was absolutely flirting with the bus driver, and the bus driver was flirting back to a point where they were just like, we're having sex. Like, that was it. Like, it was just right there in your face. I'm like, this is a kid's movie.
Fire.
That's Disney though. Disney is crazy.
The most like sexual part about Halloweentown was when I can't remember the brother and sister's name. So when they were So when they went to go see the girl that the main character had a crush on, right? She kept talking about how he was just like fraternizing over her.
Fraternizing, yeah.
Yeah, completely. And so even though it was that thing where they were trying to bring, because the same time period, right? Even though they were trying to make it something that like had the sexual innuendo in there,
right?
It was more of a thing of just more not straight in your face, but playful banter.
Question: are you saying this is a bad thing or a good thing?
If it's a
does it take away from the film? You think
it was overplayed in my opinion? Like for Hocus Pocus, it was a little overplayed, just a little bit.
Her sexual tenacity.
I strongly disagree with that.
So as a 30-year-old watching it, it was weird. Like I can admit that I was like, this is interesting. Not as a kid, I don't know if that would have bothered me. But as 30, I was like, this is.
So you talking about
again,
when she was sitting on the bus driver's lap?
So this time is your first time watching it all the way through.
Hocus Pocus 1 and 2, yeah.
Okay.
So again, I don't know as a teenager, I don't know how I would have felt. But as a 30-year-old, I was like, this is odd.
As a teenager,
I never even thought about that part when I was a
no.
teenager.
I promise you, if you worried about that, there's something else going on in life, right? Like
right.
no one I know that was our age watching that, like, thought about that being the case. And in my mind, I'm like, I mean, it's the audience, right? So like, if you're like making a movie for a kid, and the kids don't notice that, but the adults do, then like, who cares? Because like, it's a kid movie. That's how I think. So I'm watching with adult eyes now, but as a kid, I didn't notice coming.
You innocent, you ain't thinking like that.
And I think it's just the fact, like, from seeing like things in like cartoons, even though they're called innuendos, right? Animaniacs did it all the time. Looney Tunes did a lot of it. I feel like they were better like better, not hidden, but the way they kind of delivered those lines were just so subtle that like it could even go over adults' heads, and it's like, oh,
in what?
So like, okay, remember? Okay, I don't know.
You're talking about in Hocus Pocus.
Yes,
it's subtle.
Hocus Pocus was not subtle.
Not at all.
It was not.
You're saying what was subtle?
Like innuendos just during that time for like anything that was in a kids movie, kids show. A lot of them were.
Okay.
But the ones that weren't probably construed the same thing as Hocus Pocus. Because the biggest one that I can think about that really comes to mind that were innuendos was like Animaniacs. The episode where they're on the ship, it was Yakko that told Dot to look for prints, and she actually like found prints.
Uh-huh.
And Yakko goes, no, fingerprints. He's like, I meant fingerprints. And she's like, I'm not doing that.
Wait, question. Are you saying it's slick? When did you first see Hocus Pocus?
This weekend. Like,
okay.
Well,
so,
fully through this weekend.
So, it's not slick for you and your adult eyes, but for somebody who watched it as a young person, and Mike did as well, it's slick enough that kids didn't notice. Mm-hmm. So you having the perspective of only seeing it as an adult is what I'm taking as like you, because when you saw Animaniacs when?
I started rewatching it. So.
But like your first time you saw it?
First time probably elementary school.
Yeah.
See. But hang on.
So here.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish your point.
Because the other thing I was going to say is Hocus Pocus still, like I said, even if there were the jokes in there, Sarah's character just blatantly made out with people, and like they openly talk about sex and like virgins and touching kids. Like,
I mean, listen, 1, wild. 2, not wild enough that, because like I was a kid who, you know, my parents weren't strict by any means in the words, but like I wasn't gonna be watching the crazy things around them, right? I'm watching kids stuff, whatever it is. And like I actively remember watching that movie around my parents and not thinking a thing or knowing a thing, and I was fairly aware. I have a brother who's 8 years older than me and a sister who's 6 years older than me, so I was exposed to things earlier on, but like I didn't engage with that in the movie Hocus Pocus. So I think there's like a confliction with looking at it through the eyes of an adult versus the look through the eyes of a kid, because they're looking through the eyes of an adult, but it's made for children. As people who were watching it as kids, the job well done, because it was slick enough that we didn't notice it. But as adults, if you're going to see it for the first time, obviously you're going to notice these things because you're more engaged and you're taking notes.
But Disney movies do that though.
Well, but Halloweentown didn't.
Right.
Halloweentown did not do that.
Well, once again, it goes back.
Right.
That's Halloween. Okay, Halloweentown didn't, but Halloweentown is made for a whole different perspective. Right? So like Hocus Pocus where's this movie made for kids? But when you are in theaters, who's taking their kids to the theaters to watch this? Adults too. Period. Simple, straight to the point.
Right.
Disney Channel at home for the TV, that doesn't necessarily mean the parents are going to be at home watching with the kids. The kids should be watching Disney Channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay.
So once again, that's all. Man,
that's fine.
That's all I gotta say.
We stay on that for too long. So here, we'll move to a different plan of attack. Hocus Pocus to me was a movie that didn't know what it was. And I say that because I watched it, I'm like, hang on, as a kid, again, get it, I enjoyed it. As a 30-year-old, I'm like, they don't know what they want the movie to be, because you have musical numbers where, and I get it, they're bewitching them, but you're using like hit 90s songs and not like creative, like creating like their own songs to sing, or it's just like, I'm like, okay, and especially Hocus Pocus 2, I was like, oh, they definitely don't know what they want this movie to be, because that was Hocus Pocus 2 was all over the place. And I know you're gonna say, well, only Hocus Pocus 1 and Halloweentown really matter, but no, there were 2 Hocus Pocuses.
I was gonna say that because no mind. Oh, you go. Because I wasn't gonna say that.
Okay. I'm making sure because they were made.
No, because I was gonna say that because I like Halloweentown. I can see an argument why somebody like Halloweentown 2 more than Halloweentown 1. I get that. See that argument.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that. I do think that Hocus Pocus 1 is good enough to overshadow Hocus Pocus 2 and not even...
Yeah.
No, like, my whole life, they didn't exist until like 2 years ago.
Right.
It was.
Yeah. Right. And I get that. But like I said, but they messed around and made a second one. So now I have to judge that one too.
IP
IP
ruined everything.
I know. But like I said, watching Hocus Pocus 1, I was like... Because again, I enjoyed it. Like I really did enjoy it. I had notes for it. But I was like... The random musical numbers, I was like, okay, I get that they're bewitching them. I get it because, like, for example, the song at the very beginning when she's singing and she's bewitching the kids, that's not a hit song, but it's a creative song that they made. And then when they're in the present time, they're singing like, "I put a spell on you." Like, I'm like, you can
a Halloween classic.
Yeah.
Hang on, but what I'm saying is, like I said, like again, what I'm saying is that it's that IP. I mean, at the time it wasn't IP, but it's that high production movie making of like we need, we want a fast number that is a popular song. Whereas in Halloweentown, what I'm saying is Halloweentown from the beginning to end, they knew what they were making. They knew what it was, and I from the beginning to end, I'm like, okay, I'm in for this ride. With Hocus Pocus 2, I was like,
I don't think they needed to make a Halloween Town 4.
Hang on. For the exact same reasons,
right,
that you're engaging with, which I don't necessarily disagree with Halloweentown or with Hocus Pocus 2. That's me. Hocus Pocus 1, we'll get to that. Hocus Pocus 2, I'm like, okay, they were just doing a lot, don't know the direction, just like trying to throw stuff together because they know they're leaning on nostalgia. That's essentially what it is. They're leaning on that. And it's very obvious.
But I did like in Hocus Pocus 2 that they had some black characters.
They did. And they're
dumb black characters.
But they're like, they're leaning on nostalgia, but they're like, they were trying to be like as 2020
I like
as
to
they
support
could.
my black folk.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
one's a complete idiot. That movie.
And-
Go ahead.
Because like Halloweentown, the only and the first three, the only black person that it was the person that was getting the people off the bus.
Hang on. Also, has there been a Halloweentown made in the last 29 years? No. So when was Hocus Pocus made? 93. When was Halloweentown made? 96.
9 years? Yeah, there had.
Halloweentown 4. Halloweentown 4.
High, whatever it was.
That was probably 2000. So like
Halloween 4 was in 2006.
What I'm saying is that's the same 2006. Okay, so that is literally from 93 to 2006. Do not even play like we have been really diverse until the last.
Hold on.
No, hang on. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Disney Channel,
am I wrong though?
Disney Channel original movies.
Right.
I'm putting on a different scale though.
But what I'm saying is, I don't care about that. No, the scale doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, if the studios make this, hang on, because we know the studios basically dictate who's cast and like I said, what is the norm, right?
Sure.
And if they're only casting 1% of black people or colored people, then everyone else is going to follow too. Because hang on, didn't you know it's going to be like, you know what? We'll cast a whole black squad for this movie because
Disney
Channel
Channel
doesn't work.
Disney Channel original movies, to me,
Right.
Disney Channel original movies, I kind of hold on a different scale than other movies, like big blockbuster movies.
Right.
Because they actively were thinking about how to engage in other communities, and they did many what do you want to call it? There's many examples of that being the case. Right. Because Disney Channel original movies, the prime of it was from like 93 to like 2010 maybe.
Correct.
Like the prime of it, right?
Right.
And so by the time you get, and I'd argue the back end of the prime was like early, was the first High School Musical. High School Musical is around that era, right?
One black girl.
Say it again.
One black girl.
Corbin Blue.
Yep.
That's a black man along with it.
Yep.
So like, but like there's that. And Luck of the Irish, they had a whole dialogue about it.
Mm-hmm.
They had a whole dialogue about slavery in comparison to the Irish. Like these are conversations that they have been proposed. Women playing sports, like dirty.
Land the plane.
So no. Because if I don't give enough examples, then it's gonna be like, not really. You might not say that, but you don't have enough background in it. I don't know why I'm pointing at you like that. but Ryan doesn't have enough. Like Ryan might. He didn't. You didn't watch the channel growing up, did you?
Yeah.
You watched all these like Disney Channel original movies? Okay, I didn't know. He don't watch movies. I don't know. But Disney Channel original movies were engaging with a certain sense of diversity that even if mainstream wasn't doing it, they were doing it on that level. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, and I agree with that. But guess what? Hang on, let's not joke. We are all African American in this room, and hang on, and we know darn well in the 90s, black folk weren't really dealing with the occult or witches, were they not? So why would you cast or put black people in a movie about witches? You wouldn't. That's why in the new one they have because like the Christian world is kind of like, witches aren't we? We've seen Harry Potter, we've seen Lord of the Rings. It's fine now. Like, hang on, am I wrong? Am I wrong? Hang on, give me one.
Say what?
Hang on, give me a movie but before Harry Potter that had black witches in it.
That had black witches in it?
Yeah, because again, you'll probably find one or two, but what I'm saying is you're not gonna find a lot because they knew. Hang on, students aren't dumb. They know they do tests. They do outreach of studying of like who likes what demographics like what.
Sure.
So,
but this is saying
the
what?
craft.
The what?
One movie.
Wait, so
That's more than one movie, but
Wait,
yeah.
so it's
the
saying
craft.
what, though?
But what I'm saying is, because he said...
Because Leprechaun in the Ghetto was where? When?
Leprechaun in the Ghetto? I don't know.
That was like 90s. So but like...
But hang on. What I'm saying is, because his argument, one of his points was there was no black people. There's a black person in Hocus Pocus too.
Right.
Now, I was saying that, yes, because the time it came out of him, times have changed. Like, at that point in time, again, black folk weren't dealing with the occult. We just weren't. We weren't dealing with witches.
I'd argue
We weren't.
black people still not dealing with the cult.
Right, but I guarantee you there are more now than they were back in the 90s. I guarantee you that.
No, seriously. I don't know that to be a case.
But no,
I don't know.
But no, what I'm saying is
Because the black people I know that are in the cult, dealing with the cult now, they weren't dealing with the cult back then. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is, proof is in the pudding. They cast the main girl's black in Hocus Pocus too. Like,
sure,
like
the main girl's black in Hocus Pocus
and the guy who causes the whole thing is black. Like,
sure, but like obviously it come out in a time where they're trying to engage with different whatever.
So, right.
But
my point is,
once again, not early. Disney Channel original movies,
right,
at that point had been engaging with, diversity,
and that's fine,
all things.
But right,
so for them not to have it for a significant amount of those movies is an excuse. I'm just saying.
But no, it is an excuse because like I said, it's literally like there's precedent for this. Like I said, it's broken out again. Black people, hang on. Like I said, I'm telling you, like I said, hang on. There's a reason why until Harry Potter, when you're like, oh, there's a black guy in that movie, like, or the craft, whatever you want to say, like there were sprinkles, but it's like black people, folks didn't really deal with that. Like we just didn't. We didn't. I respectfully disagree because I think just because something's more mainstream doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Like just because something becomes more. Just because now we know of more, just because now we know of more black nerdom, doesn't mean that black nerdom didn't exist all the time. Then guess what?
Even though it wasn't represented in
then remove that.
Then
Admit that my point's still correct though. In the 90s, they weren't casting niggas in the 90s. They weren't. They were not.
The only one that I remember that really had like, and even then it was more of a supporting role, was Don't Look Under the Bed. And I remember specifically because it was the guy, I forgot his name, but I remember it's like the imaginary guy because the main girl saw him and he's like, you can see me? And he was the one that was supposed to help her like fight off the boogeyman, which that movie was weird. Scary. I never watched it again, although it is on Disney Plus.
I don't know, because I would say a lot of black people read Goosebumps. You know what I mean? So a lot of kids, I can speak for adults, obviously,
right? But
a lot of kids were. A lot of kids at that time were engaging with horror for kids,
right?
Horror.
But again, Goosebumps is not just witches. Goosebumps are monsters, boogeyman. It's not just witches. So what I'm saying is, for you to say that they didn't cast one black person in the main roster,
but the focus of Halloweentown is it's much more than
right.
This,
but hang on, that's why there were black people in the background. There were black people, but like I said, but the witches weren't black, and I can understand why they weren't black. Me personally, I understand why they were. I'm like, I get it. Like, if you were a producer, you're like, I'm not gonna cast. I wouldn't. I'd be like, nah. In the night, I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I wouldn't. I just wouldn't in a time. It's
because it's the idea of, number one, not so much playing to the crowd, but playing to this is more quote unquote realistic if it was this situation. Because I get that. I mean, that's why. I mean, a lot of movies and shows back then in the 90s, mostly white people, because see a black person looking at that, be like, I wouldn't do that. Because
I also I don't know, because people shows in the 90s. Mm-hmm. You could argue there was much more influential and better black shows for black people in weird diversity ways in the 90s than there are today. So like, because
go on.
Like you could, right? I mean I grew up watching, the Steve Harvey Show and the Hughley Show and Parenthood and all these kind of things of like
never mind.
Of like black
Matters.
TV shows.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now hold on, black TV shows.
If it's on BET, I guess there would be a black witch.
But there are.
Oh, you know what? Real quick,
go ahead.
To kind of help support your point just a little bit, T and Tamara were in one. Twitches.
But Twitches came out around 2006.
I tried to help you.
No, that's fine. I mean, I like accuracy. So Twitches came out about 2005, 2006 ish, if I remember correctly. But this wasn't even my initial argument, personally. But I don't like the excuse of non-diversity of the 90s. Like, I do think it's an excuse because there's, right, as of right now, it's a cartoon example, as an example. Right now, you have so many people going, there needs to be a diversity of this, that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. One of the most popular cartoons of the 90s was Rugrats. And that's the most diverse show you will ever see.
Right.
And like, but just because no one talked about it in terms of diversity, it still existed. But that's one example in the cartoon form. But I think that there's a lot more examples out there in the 90s that people don't talk about. Because you look at like, what was on the Steve Harvey show, right? Steve Harvey show had bullet head, white guy. It had black guys. It had black women teachers. It had white teachers. It had all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's just an example of that. So but I don't love the undiversity or the lack of diversity as an excuse for the 90s, because the 90s is not the 60s. You know what I mean? Like, they were still aware of these things. So but
they still did it.
But movie, TV show, I think it's like the lack of diversity, it still is not beneficial for either one of them. But either one of the Hocus Pocus or Halloweentown. But also, we're talking about a show full of goblins and ghouls and 3 black people for both of them. You know what I mean? So that is what it is.
The second thing I didn't like with Halloweentown is that in the 4th movie they switched the main character.
They recast her.
Yeah.
Well, that's because I read that they went in a different direction. But like, that's, to me, I don't care. Like, recasting doesn't bother me. If, like I said, if War Machine was recasted,
people was very mad.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
You grew attached. That's why.
And recasting and trying to. This has been too long. This isn't Aviv. You know what I mean? Like, Aviv was there. The original Aviv was there, like, what, 2-3 seasons? And all of a sudden, they like had 2-3 seasons more. The last movie, you gonna make this woman a completely different person?
That's
like,
what I was
the
like.
last movie, like,
that's why I say number 4 shouldn't have been made.
Right.
It should.
You should have too.
It should.
Of what you call it?
Yeah,
but also
should have been made.
Yeah, it shouldn't have.
They were. So.
Right. So you got to do them. But also that brings me, nice segue, right? That brings me into also reason why I like Hocus Pocus more than. I mean, like, I like Halloweentown more than Hocus Pocus.
They really so
no, because I actually like Marnie.
He know he do.
Is it what?
No, I actually like Halloweentown more than Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus was fine, but Halloweentown, I just like Halloweentown more. I actually like Marnie, the main character. The Hocus Pocus, I was like, I like Danny. I didn't like Max, the main character. I like Danny. Like, now, if you say Danny's the main character of Hocus Pocus, that changes my outlook on it.
Danny was pretty cool.
But Max is, I don't like Max, because Max, hang on, he's rude for no reason out of nowhere. He's like, I mean, I get it, you moved to a new place, but like, he's mean to his sister for like no reason. She's like, hey, take me out to go trick or treating. He's like, no, I don't want to take you out to go trick it.
He was mad, you know.
To your 8-year-old sister, okay, well, that's fine.
But then after he was mean, he apologized.
Yeah, okay. Hang on.
Did he not apologize?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then hang on. He apologized also because again he's using his sister to get with the girl that he wants to get with. So like again, I get it.
We all would have done if had a chance to. But
I get it. Hang on. But
at that age,
I'm just saying. But also, so like I said, to compare the main characters, I prefer Marnie over Max. Now again, if you say Danny's the main character, because Danny's a great character in that show, like she carries that movie to me. Yeah. Like obviously Bette Midler and them are great, but I'm just saying like as a main character, she carries like that. Like she carries it. Hang on, she has the crying part. She has the heavy moments with Binks. Like she carries that movie.
She was really good with the comedy.
She does.
I like.
So like
main character
again. So like, if you say Danny's the main character, then or hang on, I even give you Binks because the fun part, and this is why I kind of like Hocus Pocus is hard for me because I'm like, who is the main character of this movie?
Hocus Pocus is about the ensemble. That's really what it is. Hocus Pocus is Halloweentown. You're following the kid and you following her brother, kind of. But it's like this is our family lineage. And like it's a very through line with that. Hocus Pocus is because it was supposed to be a one-off. Hocus Pocus is about the ensemble. And so what you said, a lot of that is true, but that doesn't bother me nearly as much because the supporting cast does so much to elevate the movie in a general sense.
I'm still trying to figure out how Max and all of them were okay with burning people in an incinerator like it was nothing.
The witches when they trick him to go in the incinerator.
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, also it's a Halloween movie.
This is the same kid that wouldn't stand up to those bullies.
Hang on, here's your real. Yeah, so because I thought in the movie there'd be a point where, because the bullies kept bullying them the whole movie, and I knew at some point the witches were going to get them and have them locked up or in a dungeon, and I was like, oh, Max is going to show he's the good guy and like help them out. Yeah. He said no. I'm like, hold up, y'all saying it's okay to?
He got
I don't. Hang on, but hang on.
Yeah.
So hang on. Now, hang on. Now, don't say that, because now, hang on. If Black Panther, if a hero does that, you're like, hold up now. But when he does, because they took his shoes, all of a sudden it's a problem.
They bully him for no reason.
Saying he's the hero of the movie. That's what they made him to be. He's the main character. He's the hero.
He is the hero. He protected his sister.
And
then he let
the kids die because they took his shoes. Wait, hang on. Honest question. Would you let them die?
Would I let them die?
Because that's what you're doing.
Didn't die.
No, that's what you're doing. No, because hang on.
They were in an abandoned. There was the abandoned museum, so no one was going to go.
And at that point in time, the witches weren't dead yet. Remember, they did the whole trick of like saying the sun came up, because he's like daylight savings time, and they put the car light, and they're like, ah, and then they fall asleep, and then they run out, and the guy's like, wait, help us, and they're stuck in those little cages, and he's like. Like he takes a beat and looks.
Right.
It's
like, I'm out.
Yeah, he said, "Let me grab my shoes."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me grab my shoes.
Did leave those kids to die.
We don't know if they died or not.
Well, they didn't, because of the movie. They didn't die. But I'm just saying hang on. Again, like as a writer, as a storyteller of some sort, like I said, if you want your character to be likable, or like to have like these moments of like, because again, they set him up. Let me finish. Okay. They set him up as hang on. He's the main character, as again, I guess it's ensemble, but he's the main character, right? Uh-huh. Theoretically, he's the main character. Uh-huh. You don't want your main character being an unlikable ass. You don't want that.
Sometimes you don't got to be all perfect, you know.
He was told not to light the candle, and he still did it anyways.
Yeah,
he protected his sister.
He's caused the whole thing in the first place.
This is the. I'm just scared. When I watched Spider-Man, Homecoming.
Yep.
Oh, not Homecoming, the newest one, right? What's it called? Mm-hmm. No Way Home.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I first saw that movie, I was like, you know what? I don't like this movie. And I was like, why? If somebody was like, why? And I was like, well, because, if you just would have avoided pushing the button and all kind of stuff, like, and listen to Doctor Strange. Like, right. And people were like, he's being a dumb teenager.
Right.
And I was like, you're right. That makes sense.
The girl he was trying to...
That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Him, he's being a dumb kid. You say he's unlikable. Right now, for your argument, you're saying he's likable. Look at any kid to watch the movie, and no kid has ever been like, that kid's unlikable. Now, forgettable? Maybe.
That's true. No one's gonna. That's not good. Hang on. No. Either way, that's not good. You remember Marnie.
Listen. Forgettable because of the cast itself. So like, not everybody knows. Like, no, if you say who's your favorite Hocus Pocus, people literally just go,
Danny, straight up. I don't think about it. Danny. I hate Bette Midler. I mean, I don't hate her, but I'm like, Bette Midler's annoying. Sarah Jessica Parker's annoying. Like, no, it's Danny. Danny's a great character. Hang on, it's Danny and then the girlfriend is second. Like, those two are my favorite. Like, that's
sure. The children that watched this movie when it came out in the 90s.
We're not in the 90s. We're right now. We're right now.
The intended audience of children, when they watch it, no one goes, I hated that character, They always go, it always is a more positive.
Yeah.
I like this character more than this character, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think that, say it again?
They don't say that. They say, oh, the song was cute.
Okay, listen. As a person who watches as a child.
I like the music.
That's not my fault. Hang on. You know why? Hang on. Watch this. You know why I didn't watch it? Because my mom didn't like witches.
Listen.
To my point.
Just because
I'm just saying.
In the history department, we call that anecdotal.
No, it's not. All my black friends are the same. All my black friends
like witches. My mom don't like witches either. Guess what? She said, it's Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween movies. Marshall, there's a whole bunch of Halloween movies.
Listen. One person's example does not indicate all. We are not a mother.
I'm just saying though.
But what was I even saying?
Exactly.
No. But like, what was I saying in terms of but the kid audience that this is for, and I can say this one because I worked in the Boys and Girls Club for 6 years, and so we watched this movie every single year because it's an easy one to put on for the kids. And I watched it when I was a kid. The conversations about this movie never have anything to do with, man, that lead character sure was an ass.
Yeah.
Like, no. It is, It is the opposite. It is like everybody. It is
the ensemble cast is great.
The kids don't care about that. They care about the witches and
Right.
which one do you think is fun, which one do you think is a good one, whatever it is,
okay.
right?
So in this argument though, I think we're at a little bit of a like this, right? Because the question is, are we doing this debate over the fact that we're watching as adults?
Yeah, because you can't. Yeah, because
we're doing this debate. To me, to me, it is which is a better movie.
But
period. No, because the question we had was which was a better movie. Period.
The conversation is which is better in all facets. Because we're getting into. I'm getting to Rotten Tomatoes here in a second, but we're going to get other things as well. So like, it's not just like which character. It's which characters are more likable, or which characters are better.
And with that, and this is, you make a movie, you write a book, you do all that kind of stuff. You put out art knowing your audience.
I mean,
you put out your.
You gonna say it like that?
You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like it. I've already looked. You're not gonna like it.
You put your art out for the audience. If you don't know your audience, then you're not doing well. Whatever this is. Hocus Pocus, huh?
Who was the audience for Hocus Pocus?
Children, especially of the 90s, but children in general. And every time children love this movie, if they didn't, you would not see it as often as you do. Because there's a lot of Halloween movies out there with just as big as budgets that you don't see nearly as much.
What movies?
It is like they're not good, or they're not as good as this one. I would argue, in terms of in terms of the content at hand. I guess it was.
I put Hocus Pocus, and this is back to that, like, I don't want to call it apples to oranges kind of thing, but this is why I feel like there's always the weird kind of disconnect between the two. Hocus Pocus seems so slapstick and just, like we mentioned, all over the place, right? It was almost as if especially for kids, right? I imagine it being like a circus, right? The kids are sitting there in the audience watching this act go on stage, where there might be a little reason why one thing leads to the next thing, but other than that, this thing over here is a whole different aspect, right? It's a whole different thing going on. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of the things that happened in that movie were random. They were happenstance, but they were a little bit too much of a happenstance, and even then, some of the things that happened didn't really make sense. Like, number one, why were all the parents at this one Halloween party all of a sudden and just all dancing? The whole town was there, right?
Right.
Why? Why? You mean to tell me there wasn't a single parent on Halloween night out with their kids?
You don't gotta do that when you're talking to me making movies for kids. That's a fun part about making stuff for kids.
But hang on. But you said your first thing was which is the better movie, period. And so you have to talk. You have to bring in the questions of that. If you're gonna say which is the better movie, period. Like I said, for now, I get your point. For kids, right? Kids don't care about that. But
no, they want to. Oh, she riding the vacuum. That's all. That's what kids care about. Right. Like, oh, that's funny. And that's, you know what I mean? That's fine for what they were trying to. So when it goes back to looking at what they were trying to. The direction you said earlier, they don't know the direction.
Oh, right.
I think you said that.
To me, it just kind of it felt like they didn't like know which way to stick to.
This aspect specifically of like the slapstick or like the comedic direction.
Right.
I think they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, that's fine.
For that example specifically.
Right. And I guess my pushback on it's made for kids. I'm pretty sure as a director and a writer, you have seen kid movies that don't have those issues of those plot issues. Where it's like, hold up. I'm sure you can find some. I'm sure you could. Could you not?
You can find some.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
No, you could easily find some. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you can.
Okay.
For the best ones, for really good ones, say the best, really good ones, you don't think about it. And a lot of times, for these movies you saw as a kid, I don't know about you, but I know a lot of people that they don't go back and watch these movies because they know they go and think of it a whole different way. You know how many people I know that were like, oh, I really wish I didn't go back and watch Space Jams.
Really?
They're like because here's the example. You know them are not Michael Jordan's kids. Every adult knew them was not Michael Jordan's kids. Me, I swore there was Michael Jordan's kids the entire time.
Oh, wow.
But like little stuff like that, you know what I mean? That as an adult, you go back and look, you're like, that didn't make no sense. What's going on? Blah 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 blah. It's kind of. I watched the new Space Jams.
I have a hot take.
I watched the new Space Jams, and I was like, that's not Bronny. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know my people, my parents' age, they thought a very similar thing. I was like, that's not his kids. You know what I mean? But we as kids didn't have to think that integral about it because we was dumb.
I do have
kids.
Just a real quick segue. Just like I have a hot take, and I don't care, but I prefer the new Space Jam over the old one.
Really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen the new one. So.
I do. It's crazy.
That's a
whole other thing.
I know.
That's a whole conversation. That's so. Because I have a whole reason of why. I have a whole reason why the opposite of that.
Because
I Believe I Can Fly also made the movie.
On another episode,
The music in general made.
I get that.
They leaned into the music, and like 90s movies did a really good job at that. And the new Space Jam.
Yeah, because I don't remember the music.
You can't. No. But
well,
like,
I did. So yeah, because I can't argue with the. I Believe I Can Fly and Welcome to the Jam, but I do mess with the new album of the Space Jam. Like, hang on, I buzz that stuff.
Well, I haven't.
You have to know that you're in like an anomaly, though.
Oh, I know that. but hang on, but I will definitely fight my argument as to why I do believe, because there's one strong argument why I do believe the new one's better than the old one. And we'll do it another time. But I have a strong argument of why.
Another time, because we talking about
Me too.
ammunition.
Hang on, I got ammunition too.
Oh, I'm ready for that one.
Another reason I didn't like Halloweentown, because I felt like the fourth movie should have been more about.
Can we talk about 1, 2, and 3?
No. Look,
Because hang on, because I've ignored 2.
Can we let me finish?
Don't ignore 2.
Can I finish?
Okay, well, no, I'm just saying because all you talk about is 4. But okay, go ahead. Because I was trying to talk about all the good stuff about like the good ones, not the bad ones. But we can go on that one.
Four's that bad.
But I said number 4 should have been about the sister, that she could have carried on the movie, and they didn't go that route. They eliminated the little sister out the movie.
Well, she was eliminated in the third one. She was like barely in the third one. So with that one, again, I really think the fourth one, because again, like I read it, it was like they said that they're trying to go in a different direction. So I think it was that weird, like they're trying to play with like in a weird way, like nostalgia, but too early, and then they recast her. I think it was just a movie that shouldn't have been. I don't think it should have been made either. But like,
it goes without question, it should have been made. Hocus Pocus 2 goes without question, it shouldn't have been made.
Right.
But it is one. Hocus Pocus 2, they're leaning on nostalgia. That's not even a question.
Hang on,
It's a money thing.
Because Hocus Pocus 2 makes no sense. Hang on. There's a point. Hang on. No, I was like, what is this? There's a part in the movie, right? Because the movie obviously they make sure you know this is 29 years later after Hocus Pocus 1, and they talk about things that happened in the first movie. Then there's literally a scene where they're in a house and the girl's watching Hocus Pocus 1 on TV. I'm like, what?
Oh, it was the 2 dudes.
No, it was the devil scene where in the first movie with the witches go into the devil's house. They're watching that, whoever's house it is watching that scene on the TV. And I was like, wait, what? This makes no sense.
You're right
at all.
You're right. I'm not gonna disagree. I'm not listening. Anything you say negative about Hocus Pocus 2, I am not gonna disagree with. I just think that Hocus Pocus 1 is good enough that I can just like exit that out of my mind.
Right.
Halloweentown, I think the first 2 are really, really good. I think the third one is good, and I think the fourth one is abysmal.
The fourth one is bad.
I remember when the fourth one came out, like in real life, whatever, like, was 6, 5, whatever it was. I remember when that one really came out, and no one was messing with that. I mean, like we in early middle school, late elementary school. I'm supposed to be messing with this. I'm watching this channel like every day. You know what I mean? And even I was like, "Sheesh!" So you're talking about kids and like thought processes about like movies and stuff. When you have us going, this is nuts. You fumbled that bag. You fumbled that bag big time.
Right. Also for me though, so a part of how I judge a movie, grade a movie, is like the experience watching it. When I tell you, I literally watched all these movies from 8 p.m. last night till like 3 today.
That's what I kind of did, and then I watched others as well.
Yeah. So these are all like fresh in my head, like fresh. Hocus Pocus to me,
sorry about
like both of them, but both Hocus Pocuses felt like they start off like really strong, and then like they just drag on too long for me. I'm just like, are we still run from the witches? Okay, like,
well, hang on, I noticed that too, because like I was just like, when I was looking at the run times, I'm like, a normal movie nowadays is like an hour 30, right? Hocus Pocus averages like 2 hours. I'm just like, okay.
And Halloweentown 4 does that too. Like I was watching that one today. I was like, will this movie end? Like it just kept going. But Halloweentown 1, 2, and 3, they go like they're not as long, so that's to their benefit. But like they're not
hour and 36 minutes.
What'd you say? But
Hocus Pocus.
It felt like it was 2 hours. Like I was watching that the other day, I was like,
nah, for Hocus Pocus 2, it did feel long, but like Hocus Pocus didn't feel that long.
Hocus Pocus. Hang on, I'm telling you. Because I was happy because I was like, oh, this is great. Because when they got him in the kill him and burn him, I was like, let's go. Hang on, quick exit in the movie. We out. And it was like, psych, you thought we back? I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, okay, this is going on. Okay, that's fine. I get it.
But hour 30 is like for a real movie, not like a made for TV movie.
Yeah,
you can't go much shorter than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that it felt short, or it felt long. I don't think that it felt long. Excuse me. I thought it just felt like a normal movie.
Because again, I legit, because I was laying in bed, I was watching it, I was like, when the killing happened, I was like, oh, bet they're in this, like they know when to end it. And then it did the whole weird visual effect. Like, I was like, oh no.
Well, and even then, at that point, I realized that it couldn't have been over because the parents weren't home and the sun was coming up.
I was just hoping. I was just like,
and this girl's staying over at Max's house. Where are your parents?
I was just hoping.
Oh, that spell's not over yet. Okay.
Run a parent. Where are the parents at? Sun's coming up.
Yeah, that's watching it with adult eyes. Because you didn't think like that when you was watching them when you was a kid.
But that right there for me, if I just had to solidify like my main arguments, I think that is like the most impactful argument for me, is that through adults' eyes, there's a lot of really, 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 really bad kid movies. Even the ones that you liked as kids. You're going to go back into them, and you take off your nostalgia glasses, you're going to be like, yikes. ABC 1, 2, 3, that don't make sense. But as like a kid, what are you focused on? Right?
Just
if you want to, as a kid for Hocus Pocus or in Halloweentown.
Yeah, because both of you enjoy as a kid.
The laughter, or you're focused on like set design, or you don't call it set design, but you're like, oh, this looks like a cool world kind of thing, right? You're focused on that kind of stuff. And if they accomplish that, usually they're going to accomplish the goal they have at hand. And so for me, I think that is like the ultimate thing. It's just like, how do kids feel about it?
What would you say the main, for both of them, right? What would you say the main, not plot point, but the main theme was for Hocus Pocus, and the main theme for Halloweentown was as being portrayed to the viewer?
So,
yeah. So,
because the theme for Hocus Pocus for me, which is why I like the first one and the second one, I didn't resonate with as much, was because the first one I felt it was about like redemption. It was about that sibling bond.
It's 100% about sibling bond and redemption, or the two things.
Yeah, like Halloweentown was about
bond,
family
legacy and stuff like that, and like your legacy of like and what like you are as a person, your identity.
Now, when it comes to the plotline for kids, though, because when I was watching it, right. Like I said, Hocus Pocus seemed like a circus to me. There was a plot line. There was a way to push it forward. But it seemed like it was more of, we'll do this comedy portion of it. Okay, now we got to kind of go with the story a little bit more. We're going to do comedy here. Okay, now we got to keep going a little bit more. Halloweentown seemed cohesive from start to finish about what was going on and why this was happening. The one thing I will admit that really tripped me up about Halloweentown, though, was the fact they made it apparent at the beginning that the grandma only visited once a year, and that was on Halloween night, right? They made it seem like the only reason she did that was because that was the only time she could visit. Yet when the bus finally leaves because Halloween's about to be over, the mom ends up in Halloweentown and saying, we're going to leave. I'm just like, what? So does the grandma actively choose not to come more than once?
Don't know.
But even then, but even then, the plotline to me still made sense about like why the conflict started, how we were going to solve this conflict, and what was happening in the meantime. Still having the comedy aspects, the angsty teenagers, and even having the what I call the cringe factor in the movie, which was the idea of like, oh, she's getting frozen because she got hit by the spell, but now she's believing she's a witch, so she can move just enough to drop the torch in the pumpkin.
Yeah, that's the Princess Leia in the Force in the space.
That was just out of pocket.
That's the exact same kind of thing.
But no, because at least that one was the whole movie. They're like, hey, magic is just you believing in what you want. The whole movie, Leia was like, she got it. It's like there's been no explanation of this at all for literally years. Now all of a sudden she can just fly. No,
you know this is off topic, but was the grandmother dead in the fourth movie of Halloweentown?
No, she's in it.
No, I know she was in it because I was just like she wasn't in it a lot.
Yeah, because she was like, it was like she was working with the sister the whole time, and so she's like traversing and conversating through like dimensions or whatever.
And honestly, for my whole argument between which one's better, I think because I'm such a person who likes the idea of not so much like creative writing, but something with a purpose, even if it's a small one. That's why like a lot of people may not like Marvel franchises, but I'm like, at least there's still a story there, right? Fairy tales, there's still a story. Even for kids, a fairy tale is going to have some kind of storyline. Three Little Pigs, Big Bad Wolf, Little Red Riding Hood, right? There's still, even though there may be things that are just like, this wouldn't happen, there's still something to follow. Hocus Pocus didn't really give me something to follow other than the fact that, hey, by the way, this guy who's dead has this massive grudge against these witches, even though he's acting like he's working for them. And then also, a little bit of a blooper thing that I'm just like, I was dying about was when Max was actually trying to fend him off in the graveyard. Danny and Hannah fell in that hole. Max was out there for a good 15, 20 seconds fighting. I always call him, I thought it was Billy. Was it Binks? Billy? The zombie?
Billy.
He was fighting Billy for a good 15, 20 seconds and then goes into the hole. You guys realize when he went to the hole, it was only then Hannah said, Danny, are you okay? I was like, what the? You've been down there for almost 30 seconds. You're just now asking her if she's okay from that fall? What? I don't know why that pissed me off so much. I was so mad.
What? How dare you?
But like you said, adult eyes, you're gonna like kind of look at things differently and like analyze things differently. But because I only have this perspective to go off of, and the whole debate being something that we were analyzing it as a full thing, creative writer, director, cinematography, just video game enthusiasts, right? We know what a plot point is. We know what a plot line is. That's why we can all agree that in Justice League, or not Justice League, but Batman vs. Superman, plot was shit. I know the director's cut was better, but the cinematic take, terrible. Because
ain't nobody trying to watch all that. Keep going. You gonna watch another 45 minutes?
But see, that's my point.
The 45 minutes the 45 minutes do connect certain things.
I heard.
Yeah.
But that's my point. You know what it takes to make a cohesive, quick, audience is gonna like kind of plot line.
Sure.
Hocus Pocus to me did not feel like it had that, and I'm not even someone who's in director sense, but I'm used to knowing, okay, even if it is following this generic kind of thing,
right,
there is still something my brain looks for in that movie line.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: kid growing up, I didn't have no kid. I didn't have no baby sister. Right, I'm the youngest. I was like, oh, okay, like a relationship with like a daughter. Like I can see how your little sister is annoying. Yeah. I can see how like that'd be, but all of a sudden you're a big brother. You're gonna take licks for her. You're gonna try to have your comeuppance for her, kind of thing. And then also like, but I was trying to get these chicks. You know what I mean? And so I was like, oh, that's cool. As a kid watching that, I was like, and then the laughter kind of was sprinkled in around that for me, right? Because but like a little girl's gonna have a completely different experience. A teenage girl's gonna have a different experience. You know what I mean? So I think that's a really good thing about. Hocus Pocus, is that depending on what kind of kid you are, you can like gravitate to a certain character, right? Halloweentown, I would say, even when I was watching it back then, I was like, this is more of I thought it was more of a girls' show, movie. You know what I mean? The main character, like I'm like, I'm not relating to that brother,
right?
It's
right.
Work, but
again, and that's where it comes back down to. I think we might have made a mistake on this one, because again, that comes back to distribution of who's making it. Because again, they're both Disney, but one's for the movie theater, and one is for a TV show, TV. So like to your point, like I said, they're not gonna make that an ensemble cast for be like to connect with every single character like they would possibly, and to reach more people of like, oh, I like Danny, I like Max, I like the kid, I like the witches, I like this. Whereas on the Halloweentown, they're like, we just need a girl who's gonna bring in other girls to like the show, or the movie. That's it.
Me, for Halloweentown, it's more about like the monsters and the
and
background characters.
And like socks. The whimsical, because that's one thing I did like, because again, as an adult. That's also what I think we made a mistake as, because like we saw it as adults and you saw it like you see it as kid, or you saw it as adult too though.
He saw Halloweentown as adult, right?
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus as a kid.
Yes.
So both of you saw Hocus Pocus as a kid. We didn't. So like we're never gonna agree because we're seeing it with these eyes and not as like a 14-year-old kid or a 10-year-old kid, like witches, like Swiffer or whatever, whatever. Like, so I think, and so I think we may have did the wrong movie for this one.
I mean,
could do like a
listen. You let me learn. Right? Because like you are right. I mean,
because
in terms of distribution, that makes a difference about like how they're gonna portray what the film is, the themes, that kind of stuff. So I mean, there's other Disney Channel original movies we can focus on, and there's other like obviously mainstream movies you can focus on in terms of like comparing those two. But we just went with the Halloween one this time, and I mean, they're good movies.
Yeah, they both good movies.
Good I think that's a good stopping point.
Oh no, hang on.
Oh,
I have to put one icing on the cake just for us. Just on the way out. Just on the way out.
Well, while Nate's doing that,
no, not.
While Nate's doing that, I do want to say thanks for you guys' support. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us. I'll talk about the other thing going on. I'll let Nate talk about it. But
what? Huh?
We recorded last Monday.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what the thing? I was like,
I know what you're talking about either.
Yeah,
I was lost.
I was like, what? News.
Yeah, we appreciate you. We really do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Whatever and stuff.
Whatever. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Let's see. All right. So so again, I know review sites are always hard, but I'm just saying, I completely understand, but this is not anecdotal because these are like hundreds upon thousands of reviewers and people and critics.
Listen, if you actually type into Rotten Tomatoes, you pretentious. There ain't no way. I don't care if it's good or bad. I don't care what your score is on anything. But I just saw so and so. Come on now.
But no. So I look at
like it.
But I look at no because. That's why I tend to look at the audience the people who don't
can't be going off them critics, man. You can't.
I'm not.
They still moviegoers. If you over here commenting on Hocus Pocus, you doing too much. You doing too much.
They said critics said Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was a terrible movie, and
so what?
They said Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was a bad movie. I want to just strangle them.
Tripping, right?
But that's what I'm saying.
For all intents and purposes,
the critics be, doing that.
Let's not defecate on the critic's choice that Nate's gonna do.
Yeah,
let's do it afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
So just because again, we've mainly only talked about Hocus Pocus in Halloweentown 1. Like we haven't jumped into those. But just saying, there's another argument for our cases that there are 4 of these and only 2 of those. I'm just saying.
No, it's the first. Hocus Pocus is
Hocus Pocus was so good it didn't really need.
Halloweentown was the first Disney Channel franchise.
Yeah.
Disney Channel original movie franchise before like a franchise, not just 2, but like 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because
people use all the time with LeBron and Michael Jordan about he has more rings. So
was Air Bud not Disney?
Air Bud?
Yeah, I think it is. It is.
But Disney Channel original movie. That wasn't an original movie. That was like a movie.
It's like DVD and stuff like that. But no, so Hocus Pocus on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics is 40.
Okay.
The audience score is 72. Okay. For Halloweentown, the critic score is 83. Audience score is 72.
I care. Audience score is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good to me.
But then,
critics, no, that's crazy.
So I will leave it at that because that's even, and then
that's why.
Because
Hocus Pocus is better.
Because I could bring up 2 and 3 because those are good and they give more validity, but I won't use those. It's fine.
Yeah, those. I mean, Halloweentown from 1 to 3 was a good movie.
4 was trash. 4 was trash.
Mike really does.
4 was trash. I struggle watching 4.
I did.
It's not good.
I fell asleep.
It's not good. I'm a fell asleep too. It's not good. It's not good. It's just it's not good.
I watched the end of it today. I was like, damn, I didn't have to watch this.
I didn't have to watch this. That's funny. Yeah, but it is what it is. Thank you for the scores.
Yeah, I was curious.
72%. But once again, if you watched Hocus Pocus or Halloweentown 1 and said, "Let me review this," then I can't be friends with that person.
Question. Even when it came out, if they reviewed it when it first came out, like not like now, like if they reviewed it when it first came out,
reviewing a Disney Channel original movie,
it's your job. But if it's your job, like You're not pretentious.
The audience, not
the audience.
not critics. The audience.
But hang on. But again,
critics, I understand.
Because I've gone to movies before, and I'm not pretentious, but I was like, because it was like, leave a review, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, but I gave it a good review, but I wasn't
like, it truly depends on the movie. If you are because like kids aren't doing these.
Right.
If you're an adult and you're going to watch a Disney original movie, or you're watching Hocus Pocus, which Tomatoes, you're watching Hocus Pocus 30 years later, 29 years later, whatever it is, and you're like, I didn't like this movie because what are you doing? Like, relax, like just like it or dislike it, but you don't gotta do the extra mile of like
going
trashing it. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is, but.
At the same time, though, I do feel like that's what a fan base is.
Yeah, you can disclose it.
That's a fan base.
Yeah, because the first of Marvel, right? I would have to be like, hey, I was not a fan of this, but I still loved it.
Understand the Marvels. I don't understand Halloweentown critics. I under certain movies I get, but I'm not gonna go to Lifetime and Hallmark Channel and do those movies and like that's it.
You wouldn't on your free time, but if it was your job, you would.
Once again, audience, not critics.
Okay.
Critics. Critics, if they do any movie, I get. But if you are a person who just likes movies, and on your free time, you just on Rotten Tomatoes going, trash, and here's why. I'm like, can you go make some content yourself? Like that's what I'm saying. Like instead of trashing everybody else, go do something yourself.
Yeah.
How easy is it? Huh? Write a script.
In this day and age with technology, though, it's kind of like natural for people to do that, though. Because a movie review could easily just be...
natural? When's the last time you did a movie review?
Well, are we talking about writing or just talking about it?
Writing one on a website that people look at.
I did one, I think, last year.
For what movie?
I can't remember. I literally can't remember. I can't remember.
I guarantee that movie makes much more sense to critique than
you're just saying them because they're just so low tier
on stream, on TV show, on TV series, TV channel. Sorry,
this may be off topic, but what is the actor strike about? Because I'm noticing that this is now pushing movies back.
Yep, unfortunately.
Phil.
No. Well, no. We say unfortunately, but we know. Yeah.
Oh,
you're on camera.
If the movie is already done,
It's not though.
So okay, I'm going to give you the non-director take about this because they definitely have more in depth about this. So from my understanding, the whole thing about it is that the actors and the writers weren't getting paid their due diligence for like what they do, right? Not at all. And while the companies are making billions upon billions, and you can see the CEO spending money on things that they don't need to, mostly it's tax write-offs because they're just like, oh, I have to spend this money.
And their bonuses.
Yeah. And so while inflation is hitting everyone, the tragedy of actors and writers is the fact that you can be a good actor, fantastic actor, you can be a fantastic writer, right? Just ahead of your time. You technically have to, number one, outperform everyone still every single time, and also still prove you're a good writer and a good actor for anything that you're trying to do. You don't just get a one and done unless you're like someone like George Clooney, like, and even then it's just because of his looks most of the time. He does good in a lot of movies, but
he's called him fine. Keep going.
he won like sexiest man of the year in Time, so it's just like you can't.
What year?
I don't remember what.
I was saying, if you knew what year.
He's like 94, 98 when he was Batman.
Oh my god, I'm bad. I'm glad. I tried to set you up. You ain't fall for it.
He was like, I don't know.
But basically, that's the, especially living in LA, everything is massively expensive, right? So a lot of these people who are really good at their jobs and good at what they're doing aren't getting paid enough for it, so they can't make a living. They're not trying to buy extravagant things. They're literally just trying to like have food and a place to live. Because apartments, you get a studio apartment, it's like $3,000 out there.
They also don't have health insurance.
Yeah, because there's no way for them to have health insurance out there because they're contract.
For a kid,
you want to go first? Or you want to go first on the director's cut?
No, oh good lord!
On the Snyder version, do you want to go first? Or want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, because I'm sure we're gonna say very similar things.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, when it comes to the actor strike, they think about the actors that they know, right? So the George Clooney's, the Michael
B. Jordan's,
when I say name an actor, obvious actor, actress, people come in your head, right? Will Smith, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's 1%. That's crazy. Are you smacking the back of Jada's head? No. Do that. But those are like 1% of the actors, right? The 98, 99% of other actors are people you have never heard of before, people you will never hear of before. And when you look at like, the ending credits, they're far down the list.
Bartender number 3.
Bartender number 3, cab driver number 2, extra this, extra that, whatever.
Do a flip guy.
Yep.
Do a flip guy. Do a flip. I think I was thinking about Dua Lipa. Anyway, I'm always thinking about Dua Lipa, you know what I mean? But those people can't afford to live just by being a working actor. You know what I mean? So like, their rates aren't going up. They don't have access to insurance. They don't have all these different things, and that's not even including the AI stuff. So there was this whole thing of like, they were going to or try to scan people and use them as extras.
Yeah, I've seen that
in perpetuity forever.
Yes,
for like the rest of life,
because they would own the rights to it,
and so they wouldn't be able to, wouldn't be able to like go on a lot and be an extra for 3 movies because they're going to put you there without you actually being there.
And they don't have to pay you for it.
Yes, and they don't got to pay you for it, right? So like that's one of the major things. That's like a few of the major things that they're really going for and really attacking against, because the writers ended.
Yeah,
but like the writers ended, but the actors have like similar issues, but also like very drastically different issues at the same time. And so that's like part of it also.
I think the craziest part is what I heard is like a lot of like the heads of the studios are like agreeing with a lot of the actors, but it's the people above them. They're just like, we don't want you. And they're just like, what are you doing?
Well, they're selfish. Their heads
greedy.
We had this whole conversation with
Lawrence. Lawrence.
Lawrence. The heads of studios.
We had a whole argument that day. It was crazy.
Large. The heads of studios are the heads of businesses, large, Fortune 500 businesses. They make more money the less money the lower end individuals make. That's like, they spend less, they make more, right? That's like how like American business essentially works. But like the gap in between the highest person paid and the lowest person paid continues to grow. And it's like, no. We need that to be like much smaller. If not, just our pay raise goes up so we can able to survive in Los Angeles and New York and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So that's one of the
especially when these people are the people who are the reason you make your money.
Right.
Like, again, if you're a studio head, and this is what we got in an argument with Lawrence about, was if you're a studio head, right? You run Marvel, okay? Now, those big actors, even the small actors, right? The Bartender 2, Tech Driver 3, right? If they don't show up, how do you get paid? How do you get paid?
You can't. You don't know what's going out.
You need them.
Can't make no movies.
That's true.
Right. Now, Lawrence's big idea was he said that, I'll just replace with anybody, cheaper, bring cheaper.
I got my scabs.
Yeah. But I'm like, hang on. You really think people are gonna come and watch a Marvel movie or any movie with someone they don't know? Like, there's a reason why we're in this era where who we got? Bring in Tom Cruise. Who we got? Michael B. Who else we got? Like
Leo.
There's a reason they have the name. There's a reason they have the face because they know that's gonna bring in box office.
Can you imagine if they did John Wick and replace Keanu Reeves?
Man, that'd be messed up.
So like this idea that like the studio heads are like, well, we will happily just replace. No, you won't.
No.
People are literally having conversation now, like people. The internet, right? Well, but I've seen the conversations floating around of like the idea of like the movie star and like is that still going to be a thing in 20 years? It's not even anything in 10 years.
Yeah.
Like when we grew up, Will Smith was like
any movie he's in,
boom. You know what I mean? Leonardo DiCaprio,
Tom Cruise, even then Tom Cruise,
boom,
Arnold,
like, Denzel, boom, right? Like we know who these people are, and now it's like. The way that they're going through, the way that the movie business is heading, especially with streamer services, and like the constant like influx of content, is that going to be beneficial for even the top 1%? And that's why they're also fighting for it
right now
because they're like, we have a certain lifestyle, and like their lifestyle that they have is like because they're so good at what they do, right? Every single person we named. We know why they're there. Right. We know why we know their names in terms of like acting. But all of a sudden, if they got, you go to a movie theater and you pay your money, You sit down, you watch, the new Martin Scorsese movie for 3.5 hours, and you sit there and you take it in, and you leave, and like we do, have a conversation afterwards about what do you think about this, what do you think about that, good, bad, whatever. But if you stay on a streaming service, and all of a sudden you can rewind, you can fast forward, you can sit there. Like, is that same kind of quality? Do you feel about these people? Are you enjoying their art the same way, or more or even in a way that's just as beneficial? And they're like, no, we don't think so. But the streaming services, they're not even telling us the metrics.
Right.
So are we even getting paid to the amount that we should be getting paid? Because we have no idea how many people are watching our stuff.
Got you.
All we know is it says #1 in U.S. on whatever on Netflix says.
That comes down to
I got you.
the difference between distribution and royalties kind of thing. Because that's the idea of, like, I remember I mentioned you guys before, when it comes to music, like the music industry, there's a difference between radio play and there's a difference between, like, Spotify play. Because Spotify, they can track by every time you click and, like, just go through it, right? That's where the ad revenue comes from. What they can't track as a distributor is if someone in a restaurant says, I want to play your music, because they don't know how many times you're going to play it. They just know that they're going to play it at least once. So the problem, just like streaming services, how many times are you going to go through this again and watch it? Movie theaters, you buy a ticket, that's basically you hit and play, right? Every single time.
And how many times do people walk out of a theater? Sometimes people do.
Right,
Like,
it happens.
rarely. You know what I mean? Even if you want to fall asleep. Because I know your dad used to be falling asleep.
Used to.
I ain't been to a movie with him since Dark Knight. So some people fall asleep. But, like, even if they fall asleep, they pay the ticket, they're sitting there.
Yeah.
And they might be buying popcorn, they might be doing kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like the whole ecosystem around that. But if you just at home watching Hocus Pocus or watching Halloweentown 1 through 4, we all watch this stuff. We might even have a different opinion if we just got, like, watched one of those movies and had a day, a week to just digest that one movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but we're able to watch 5 movies.
Boom, boom.
6 movies.
I watched 6 movies in literally 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like, can you imagine? Like,
There you go.
Yep, I did too.
And that's the kind of stuff they're fighting.
But that's why I
against to a degree.
text you and ask you. I was like, man, when did you watch your?
Literally, I started at 8 o'clock last night.
That's crazy. But that's a yeah.
So it's also trying to figure out, like, on the smaller scale, even though, the CEOs are just money grabbing, right? On smaller scale, it's basically saying, how do we pay these people and how do we make sure it's fair the way we pay them?
Because they don't want to pay them fair.
I got you.
So
That too.
So it's like, it's like, I'd argue it's the actors and actresses saying, how do you pay us fairly? And it's instead of the other way around, because the studios are like, we want to pay you poorly so we can make the most money in the back end. You know what I mean? So it's trying to just, like, finding that middle ground of what that means. But yeah, that's
That's the breakdown. That's the breakdown.
The breakdown of the strike.
and why the movies are getting pushed back, because they aren't done. So like Deadpool 3, right? Like, they were filming it and then all the strikes happened, and so like now they're not filming because
strikes are for not filming movies, but like a lot of those movies they'll like revamp
that, right?
Get back into it,
right?
But some TV shows are canceled
because of the strikes. Yeah,
How I Met Your Father got canceled, like completely, and I like that show.
Because that's what I'm thinking of. I've been seeing, like, a lot of Marvel movies are being pushed back.
Yeah, because they can't do it.
Like, it was supposed to come out in 24. Now it won't come out to 25, 26 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sick because Secret Wars it don't come out until 2027 now. I'm sick. It was put like I think 2026, 2025, 2027 now.
This is the crazy part about it. So, like, it had been like 60 years, something like that, since like the writers and actors took a strike at the same time. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. At the same time. But like now the writers is like done and they got their thing. So it's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But like now the actors are trying to figure it out. But you need both to be able to make the content.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So you were right. Writers are like, okay, now we're doing like the SNL or like the Tonight Show or like the late night show kind of stuff. But like actors is like, no, you want like content, like you want all this stuff on Netflix. Like, yeah, really get your money. Y'all need to do us good.
Yeah, because it's like it's one thing to write it, but it's another thing to deliver it. Right?
Uh-huh.
You can write a great script if you don't have someone who can read the lines. You get someone's monotone.
Or act the parts.
There's a lot of movies out there that are good in theory
on paper.
on paper,
Literally on paper, but
when,
not.
when you see what
Yeah.
they should have cast somebody else.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Okay.
Literally, that's it.
The more you know.
Thank y'all.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the iNword podcast. We want to hear what you think about it. The right part might be a bonus clip because that was running along too. That'd be good.
It's all good.
But leave a comment, like, share, subscribe.
Hocus Pocus.
Alakazam.
Halloweentown.
Halloweentown.
Coraline.
Cry.
I was just saying Halloween movies. My bad. Hocus Pocus.
Halloweentown.
Halloweentown. But
3 rings. 4. I'm just saying, 3 brother 1, right?
trifecta.
I'm kidding. I'm just saying.
Keep going, Ron.
I'm Ron, the Lone Rocketeer. You can find me anywhere. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, music coming out. Hit song. It's actually releasing, what's today? The 23rd? 3 days, which will be out by the time this episode comes out.
Sick.
I love it.
Dope.
Finally made a new song like I said I would because I've been trying. But at the Lone Rocketeer, you'll find me anywhere. Nate?
You can find me at Sanatic on all social media platforms.
Mike?
Real Sugar Cookies. Twitter, Instagram.
Philip
Dixon, aka no, I'm joking. Brother Abe on Instagram.
Nice. Nate, do you want to talk about the Monday thing we did last week?
Oh, yeah, we shot our first episode of Defy Bros.
Yay! See, that's the shit I'm talking about. You see? Oh, you're doing the spirit film. No one's.
That episode will probably be out by the time this one's out.
Nice.
So
I can't wait to see
stay tuned.
All up in Ron's brew.
Like I said, we'll put a link in the video down below so you guys can see it.
Fantastic.
Other than that, like I said, tell us what you think. You'll see us again in about 2 weeks. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your time. Oh, I keep forgetting. I wrote down all these things for remember the bi-weekly send-offs?
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot to keep reading these. So it finally dawned on me I need to do another one. So for this bi-weekly send-off, hang on, sorry. I can't type. Sorry. Hang on.
You got rust.
I know I did.
Keep the pressure. That's what it is.
Okay.
Fingers
So
aren't working.
random one.
watch me edit it and just shut it off before you even says this.
At least edit that.
This is a good one. This is a good one. Granted, we already had this debate about ghosts and spirits, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is actually more towards the meet in the middle kind of thing too that you were talking about. If they ghost you, let them stay on that plane of existence and move on to someone else who's on yours.
Oh. Okay.
If you're not a bad person, you generally won't get ghosted.
What?
Is that true?
No.
What did you say?
If you're not a bad person, you generally won't get ghosted.
No. What?
That's you say if you're not a bad person, you generally won't get ghosted.
Yeah.
No, good people get ghosted all the time.
Yeah.
Am I a bad
I
person?
must be built different.
You're
Well,
not,
I
I was like, good people get ghosted all the time.
I was setting everybody up to call myself different.
I was genuinely sad.
Oh, my bad. We got a little real. My bad.
Until next time, happy Halloween.
I refuse. Nope.